everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Paola, and today I have one of the most special guests this channel is ever gonna have. Everybody, please welcome Racquel Marie, or as we know her, some of us, Rocky.
Hello, I'm very excited to be here.
I'm very excited for you to be here. Thank you so much for doing this with me. So please introduce yourself and tell us about Ophelia After All.
Okay, so like you said, I'm Racquel Marie, also known as Rocky. It's very funny seeing people who've known me in the book community for years, like trying to navigate what they're supposed to call me now. But yes, my debut novel, Ophelia After All, comes out on February 8th. And about 17-year-old Ophelia Rojas, who is a hopeless romantic, a rose gardener, a chismosa, who has a really strong sense of who she is, but that begins to slip away when she finds herself crushing on one of her new friends, female classmate, Talia Sanchez. And it leads to a lot of confusion, a lot of speculation about herself, her identity, her sexuality in the weeks leading up to their senior prom and high school graduation.
It's a very, very good book, just so you know. You talked about how this is about like the leading up to the prom.
Mm-hmm.
Prom in Ophelia, after all, is themed under the sea. So
Yes.
what theme that's not under the sea would you like, or would you have liked for your prom? Did you go to prom?
I did go to prom. My prom theme was like Paradise Garden or something. It was basically supposed to be Peter Pan, but Disney didn't allow the copyright for us to call it Peter Pan. So they just called it some weird name, but nothing about it was even remotely Peter Pan. It was fine, you know. But if I could have picked it, knowing now that I may never have the opportunity to go to like a masquerade ball, I would have loved a masquerade prom theme, just because like when you get older and you realize like this is not going to happen again. You know, you don't have as many opportunities to dress up, and I really would have liked that opportunity. But my high school was really strict, and so I don't know if they would have allowed masks. So if not that, I feel like some type of like fairy theme would have been really cool, because you could have dressed very whimsical and the decorations could be like pretty greenery and twinkly lights. I feel like that would have been a very nice
makeup would have
pleasing.
been amazing.
Yeah, exactly. Like if people would have gotten really into the theme, I feel like that could be a really, really cool themed prom. So those would be my two options.
Yeah, I love that. I don't know how proms work. I've only seen them in movies and in books.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like does the theme like have to guide the dress code, like what colors you wear and stuff like that?
Not really. Like I don't think I've ever been to a dance where it did dictate like color and stuff. Like there was levels of elegance with school dances. Like prom was usually like long formal dresses. And I know some schools had like black and white dances or like neon dances, but I think for the most part people don't generally dress to the theme. But I feel like we should do that. I feel like that would be more fun.
I was like that. I thought that was a point.
Yeah, like that would be so much more engaging, because then the theme is like actually a part of it. I feel like at least my high school, our themes for our dances didn't really impact anything about the dance that much. Like even the decorations usually didn't feel that much in theme. Not to drag my high school years later.
These are the character superlatives. So who's the life of the party?
I think I have to say Sammy. I kind of want to say Lindsay as well, because she's very popular. She's the one who throws the parties and stuff. But Sammy's really fun. He's really goofy. His dialogue was my favorite to write, because he's very sarcastic and kind of obnoxious at times. But I think that's, you know, he's the one that livens things up a little. He keeps things entertaining.
Yeah. Oh, I like that answer. Most likely to be president.
I'm going to say Agatha 100%. She gets shit done. She knows what she's doing. I think there's even a joke in the book that she should be like a presidential campaign manager, but I think she should just go for it herself. I feel like she would fix things. She would solve coronavirus if she was in charge.
Most likely to win the lottery ticket and lose.
I feel like I want to say Sammy again. I'm picking on Sammy, but he is very disorganized, and I feel like it would just be like very in character for him to win the lottery and then just like completely misplace the ticket and never be able to turn it in and get the money.
Yeah. This is my favorite one. Most likely to be on a reality show.
I'm saying Ophelia's ex-boyfriend Lucas, because he's my second least favorite character in the book, and I don't think he would be like interesting. He'd be one of those guys that gets hired to the reality show just because he's like very conventionally attractive. And
Mm.
then they're like really fishing to get something entertaining out of him because he's just very bland and just sort of there. I feel like he'd be the most likely to jump at that opportunity, but be like the least interesting personality TV
Oh,
person ever.
interesting. Who would make or who makes the best TikTok videos?
I feel like Ophelia could make some really aesthetically pleasing TikToks of like gardening,
Yeah.
like ones that just have really nice shots of the roses and like water being poured, have like pretty music in the background. I feel like she would kill it at that. Like she would end up being TikTok famous just for being like a very calm, almost like ASMR rose gardening
Oh, yeah.
TikToker.
I love that.
Yeah, I
Um,
feel like she would do great.
yeah. And who would be most likely to pinch themselves while gardening with Ophelia?
Not to bully Sammy, but again, I'm gonna say Sammy just because I feel like he would be the most careless with it. Like, even if he's not trying to wreck things, he would just not be paying attention to like the thorns, wearing gloves, like using the hedge trimmers properly. He would just be a lot more careless, which than I think any of the other characters would be.
Oh, I love all the Sammy answers. That just he's like the fun character, I would say. I mean, everybody's
Yeah,
fun, but he's like like you said, the life of the party.
yeah, exactly. He's the most chaotic of the group, and I think that's
Yeah.
why I tend to bully him when I think about things because he's the one that I can see making the, the bad decisions the most easily.
I love that though. I love that. So I guess this could go either way. Like if someone were to ask you to prom, or if you wanted to ask somebody to prom, what would your dream proposal, sorry. What would your dream proposal be?
So my friend and I asked each other to prom our senior year of high school in a completely platonic way. But I remember it was funny because we worked with our teachers to do it because we were in a program where we knew our teachers really well. So we literally were like, okay, leave the class for 5 minutes and told the teacher, like, I'm going to ask her to prom really quick. Is that okay? And we both just did like, I think I did a poster and gave her like flowers and she did a poster and gave me cupcakes. So that was really sweet. But there's a balcony in my house and I always dreamed of some type of like, you know, balconies are just inherently romantic. Like I would have loved someone to just like goofily serenade me or reenact like Romeo and Juliet. Something like that would have just been, I missed out on that teenage experience. What's the point of having a balcony if you can't have some type of declaration of love? And it would be very grand, but I'm anxious and would not want someone to ask me to prom very like publicly unless I knew they were doing it. So I feel like
Oh,
this would be like it could be a surprise, but still be grand and not be like high pressure of everyone
yeah.
staring at me. So I think that would be my grand one. And I feel like if I asked someone, I would have done similar to what I already did, which was like flowers, a poster that has like a pun on it or something.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge grand thing, but still something that's fun and special.
But I love the balcony one. That would have been great.
I know it's never too late if anyone wants to ask me to prom.
Or to a masquerade ball. Let's
Yeah, if
do
anyone
it.
wants to
Yeah.
invite me to a masquerade fairy ball prom, then my balcony is ready and available.
um, in a game of truth or dare, what would you dare one of your other friends to do, or your other group of friends?
I feel like a really funny dare that would be very mean though. So like I don't think I'd ever make someone do it. It would be to dare them to tell someone that like a character in their book is based off of them, whether it be
Hmm.
like the villain, the love interest, the main character. I feel like that's such like a cursed thing to say because as authors, it's always like you're always paranoid that people are going to assume characters are based off of them even when they absolutely aren't. So I just feel like it would be choosing violence if you were like, I based the love interest in my book after you. Like, because how do you even respond to someone saying that to you? So I feel like that would be
Yeah.
it'd be a very good dare. I
Yeah.
don't think I could ever do it because it feels a little too much. But if I ever felt particularly unhinged, that's probably what I would do.
I love that there. I was like, I wonder what she's gonna say. Because I could think of nothing, but that one is really good. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Because then you have to
My
be like,
mind would.
oh no, I'm lying. Like it's a joke.
Yeah, exactly. You either have to say you're lying or you have to commit to it. And
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like it's a very evil dare, but if anyone wants to use it, go for it. Free for the taking, because I'm never using that. So
So this is the rapid fire section. Are you a
okay.
plotter or a pantser?
Completely pantser. I rarely ever outline.
Ooh, interesting. Paperback or hardback?
Paperback, but hardcovers are making some points when they have like foil on the inside and like painted edges. I feel like they're starting to win me over.
A book you want everyone to read?
The Space Between Worlds by Micaiah Johnson. I read it last year. It's an adult sci-fi book, but it's very like accessible. Sci-fi is not normally your thing. It deals with parallel worlds, deals a lot with like grief and love and decisions and like overcoming things and healing. I really, really loved it. So recommend it to everyone.
Should books be judged by their covers?
Absolutely. Because it's people's whole jobs to design them, to illustrate them. Like now having gone through the process of like approving designs and picking out things, there's so much work that goes into book covers. Like you can't hate a book for its book cover, but when you pick up a book because it has a beautiful cover, like that was intentional. Absolutely. You should judge it for that.
Yeah. And lastly, what's your purpose in life?
Very, very heavy question. I think it's to tell stories in various mediums, whether it be in books or orally or on Twitter, whatever. I really love storytelling, and I feel like my purpose has always been involved with telling stories, preserving stories, creating stories. That's really where I feel the most fulfilled in my life when I'm doing that.
I love that. That's a really good answer.
Thank you.
And lastly, of the 2 projects that you have announced that have a name, what can you tell us about your story in Our Shadows Have Claws and your upcoming 2023 title, You Don't Have a Shot?
Yes. So I've never summarized or talked about my story in Our Shadows Have Claws yet. So there's an exclusive preview. And I've also never practiced the pitch. So we'll see how I do. But my story in Our Shadows Have Claws deals with the Colombian succubus myth La Pata Sola. And it is a contemporary story. And it's about a young girl who is on her spring break trip for her senior year of high school with her class. And her and her boyfriend have been having troubles. He's been acting really distant and weird ever since she came out as queer, even though it had nothing to do with their relationship or any problems. And there's speculation that she could be cheating on him. There's like rumors circulating. And while they're in the forest on their camping trip, there's also some very creepy things going around, a mutilated animal, very eerie circumstances, which may or may not be connected to La Pata Sola, who's conventionally tied to adulterous men. So that's my pitch for that. I need to practice it a little bit more, but that's where my story is.
I'm excited. That sounds amazing.
I'm very, very excited for it. I'm excited to read all the other stories too. Yeah, and it's edited by the amazing Amparo Ortiz and Shamile Said Mendez, who are incredible.
Oh my God, I'm excited. I'm excited.
And then You Don't Have a Shot is my second book coming out next year. It is a YA contemporary romance, sapphic rivals to lovers. It's about Valentina, who gets in a fight with her longtime rival at the start of the book, wrecks a bunch of stuff about her life, ends up at a soccer camp, realizes she has an opportunity to fix still maybe getting to be recruited onto a college team. And so, but she has to team up with the rival she fought with that ruined everything, Leticia. And so the two of them have to work together to captain this team and hopefully make it successful. And, they're both sapphic enemies, and there's a lot of tension and angst and slow burn. And I really love it. I love it a lot.
Ooh, I'm excited. I love every time there's somebody on Twitter saying something and you quote tweet that with You Don't Have a Shot 2023. Yeah. I'm like excited. I'm like, oh my God. I can't wait to read it.
Yeah, because I didn't play around with that many tropes in Ophelia After All, but You Don't Have a Shot has a lot more romantic tropes involved in it. So I love when I see something and I'm like, my book has this.
I'm excited. I'm very excited. And I love the punny title. It's great. Yes. I'm very, very excited about Ophelia After All hitting shelves anywhere, everywhere books are sold. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Thank you, Rocky, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, and we will see you in another one. Bye.
Bye.